Welcome to part 2. Today we'll be learning about concatenation and escape sequences, but let's go over the homework answers from part 1 first. So I asked you to format this verse of poetry, and you had to use at least 2 prints, and your answer should look something like this. My intention was to get you to use print line to start a new line, because if you just used print, it would just continue printing on the same line. As for the second assignment, you were supposed to figure out what the output from these 5 lines would be. And the answer looks like this. You'll notice that stopped and for don't have a space in between. And this was intentional. I wanted to see if you would notice a small detail like this. When it comes to coding, you really need to be able to pay attention to the smallest details. So let's go back to Codiva. We can create a new file in the same source folder by clicking this tab. So under class and file name, let's say part 2, and for the source folder it will remain tutorials. So let's continue our good habits and begin by putting some documentation in here. I'm copying and pasting it just so we can save some time, but you should type it out yourself. Again, it's a really good habit to get into. Last time we talked about printing a string inside of these brackets, but you can actually print more than one string at a time. You can add strings together with a plus sign, and we call this process concatenation. Let's try it out. We'll put in 2 strings, hello and world. If I click run, you'll see that the output has hello world. And I want you to pay attention to this small space here. If you neglect to put it in, all your words will end up running in together like so. So whenever you're concatenating, pay attention to this. One use for concatenation is when your line of code runs a little too long. In this IDE, it doesn't actually give you any errors when your code is a little too long. But again, this is a good habit to get into. Let's start by typing out a really long string first. Okay, so we have a super long string. And you can see right away that it would be pretty painful if you had to scroll up and down without being able to see the context where that string was. So if you can scroll back to the left, let's cut the string in half at a space that makes sense, say here, and hit enter. And as you can see, when you hit enter, the second part of the string will end up being indented, so it's actually quite easy to tell that this is part of this print line and not something else. So let's add a plus to concatenate and close off the second part of the string with another double quote. And if you were to run this right now, you'll see that it just prints out like normal. There's also something called escape sequences, and escape sequences are used to represent characters that you wouldn't be able to use otherwise. So, for example, if you try using double quotes inside of double quotes as a string, then you're going to get an error. Let's take a look at that. If you put in one double quote, your IDE is going to start complaining. And if you try to put in another one, it'll still complain. The error is different, but it doesn't change the fact that you can't actually print this. So to represent a double quote, you need to add a backslash as a prefix. And when you print it out, the backslash is not going to print. It's just a way of telling the computer that this is actually what you intended to do. Now let's try it out by printing out a little bit of dialogue. So you wanted to write something like this. What you would do is type exactly the same thing, but with backslashes before you type in any double quotes. So if you run it, then it will print it out. And there are some other useful escape sequences as well. So if you have \n, it will start a new line. So it's kind of like print line, except this just begins a new line. And \t if you want to indent by one tab. And there's \\, if you want to type a backslash. Let's try it out by doing it in the IDE again. If you wanted to represent, let's say, Siberia tutorials, like so, by having it span over 2 lines and have it indented somewhat, then we could try doing it like this. So first of all, you need a tab so that Siberia is indented, and then \n to start a new line. Oh, and I forgot the tab. And then you end the line with a semicolon. So let's run it and see if we got it right. So there you go, Siberia tutorials and indented. And now time for some homework. I want you to format this by using one print statement. So I need to format file path : and then this entire file path. And for your second assignment, I need you to format this entire quote exactly as you see it. So you can only use one print statement. So it doesn't matter if it's print line or print. And you need to have 4 lines of code, and everything has to be exactly the same. So the first line has to end at we, the second line has to end at plan, and Ellen Ullman's name has to be aligned to the right side. If you did it right, it should look something like this. Good luck.